Oh, hey! Happy Wednesday! So, we are here at the People's Triangle today for a special edition of Ask a Gardener at NBK Park's live Instagram. We're here every Wednesday. You may have noticed we've been going on tours recently to check out the other North Brooklyn parks and open spaces, and we wanted to come here at the corner of Metropolitan and North 3rd to show you one of the area's newest open spaces, which is really unique. So come over here, I want to show you. So the People's Triangle was something that started pre-pandemic, and I remember council member Antonio Reynoso called our office to talk about transforming this very well-known triangle right off of Bedford, densely populated. People are always walking by, and it was kind of just a parking lot. And so somehow, throughout the pandemic, it was turned into one of our newest green spaces. So we were going to have Danny from the People's Firehouse kind of talk about the context of the project, the partnership of the project. But like a lot of people who are working in North Brooklyn, there was an emergency today, so you're going to be having a tour with me instead. But I want to introduce you to Jerry, who's the amazing gardener here, who's really transformed the space from essentially a parking lot to a green space that's open to the public. Hey Jerry, how are you? I'm Katie, Denny Horowitz from North Brooklyn Parks Alliance.
I'm Jerry.
Hey
from
Jerry.
the Lower East Side, and working in People's Triangle Community Garden here in Williamsburg.
Amazing. Do you think you could show us around today?
Sure.
So, I assume that this is called a triangle because it's quite literally a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So, were you involved in the design of the space originally?
I pretty much designed the whole thing. It was supposed to be a community effort.
Yes.
We had a couple of meetings.
I remember those.
So-
That was like in late 2019, maybe,
Mhm.
right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah. And like I say, we had a couple of meetings. A lot of people showed up, both meetings. Then we called a work day, and a lot of people showed up for the work day. This one family had umpteen million kids.
Right.
The girls built, I'll show you.
Yeah, come. Come on, guys. So what do we have here?
The girls dug the first flower bed. This area right here. Like 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and a bunch of little girls.
Wow. So what plants are we looking at?
Well, this particular bed is my red bed. Mostly coleus, got some red caladium. Can't think of what. The flower from Tahiti.
So it is the whole, is it all color coded when you say this is the red bed, or it's
Well,
just?
On down this way, when they're in bloom, these are like blues, violets, kind of blend into the yellows, and then we got pinks down here. For some reason, pink does really well.
That's amazing. So it's like a rainbow.
I've got pink here almost all year. Now last year, speaking of rainbows,
Yeah.
I did have a rainbow. Literally. This was red, this was orange, then there was yellow, then I had some greenery, and then some blues and some violets, some purples, and what have you.
That's nice. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of the rainbow treasure hunts that were happening last year during the pandemic that sort of inspired people to say hello to their neighbors by sharing colors.
Now, this is gonna be like Monarda bee balm.
Mm-hmm.
I got a red one back over here that's just barely coming in. And this one's hot pink.
Oh, really? Oh, when is that
Yeah,
going to bloom?
Hopefully in the fall again.
Okay.
I mean, we're not talking pink. We're talking hot pink.
Right. I see electric neon.
Yeah, it almost glows under a black light. I mean,
Oh,
it's,
cool.
speaking as an old hippie, I felt homesick.
Sounds like a disco party in
Now,
the works.
from here, it just kind of goes wild. Because I was having problems getting water early in the year.
Uh-huh.
Last year, this whole thing, both sides, were covered in wildflower seeds. I came in, spread a few more this year, but I didn't get a lot to come. I mean, there's a lot going on, and there's going to be a lot more happening. But like I say, I didn't get near the color I wanted because I didn't have the water. Um,
So what are you doing for water now?
well, now I got, for a while, I was buying water from Food Town across the
Oh,
street.
really?
But
That can get very expensive.
right now, I've got 6 water barrels,
Uh-huh.
and the fire plug on the corner has a magnetic cap on it.
Okay.
So I have to wait until the fire department comes,
Uh-huh.
and I get them to turn it on. I've got like a legal nozzle that I can put on it.
Sure.
And then I run a hose down here, and I hose down everything while they're here, and I fill up my barrels, and
Oh, good, good, good.
I'm able to get water. But like I said, at first this year, it was hard. Last year, Danny Rivera from the People's Firehouse made sure I had water.
Yeah.
He actually went out and bought an electric pallet jack
Uh-huh.
with a pallet that held 4 50-gallon barrels. And he would fill them up over here at Yarka Hall.
Oh, wow.
And then on the sidewalk and in the street, he would bring them over here. And we've got an electrical hook. It's the only thing we have here is an electrical hookup.
Right.
And he would run a pump
Yeah.
from the sidewalk to the barrels,
Yeah.
and we'd fill up the barrels, and that's how I
Yeah.
got water last year.
No,
But
you know,
this
you're
year-
not alone. There's so many spaces that, you know, water is just an issue. How to access water. It's something you don't think about when
No.
you're opening up a new green space, is how can you actually irrigate it when there's no water source?
Well, so far, I mean, we almost lost it at the beginning of the year this year.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we pulled through, and I think we're going to make it now.
Yeah. Well, amazing. I see some beautiful blooms at the very tip of the triangle.
See these guys right here?
Yes.
These are my favorite from my youth. I grew up out in West Texas.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now all the men in my family have always been gardeners. My grandfather always had really nice flower beds and everything. My father always had nice lawns. But I was raised mostly by my grandparents.
Oh, yeah?
And my grandmother's favorite flower was zinnias.
These are gorgeous.
And I remember, now of course I was like this big.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember zinnias as being like head high.
Of course.
Yeah. And me running through them. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Got a bucket on a stump.
No, I love this. So down here it's a nice special place. You've got your stone pathway kind of leading to this intimate little tip of a triangle.
This is kind of my exotic area. See, I got this idea that like anybody can have a green leaf-shaped leaf.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody does, and so what?
Right.
Okay, I'm trying to go for like different colored leaves. See?
Yeah.
See?
Yep.
Okay, right back down here. Okay, different
Shapes, different
shaped
textures, different
leaves,
colors.
exactly. But at the same time, I'm trying to like bring in some native pollinators.
Have you been finding more bees and butterflies lately?
Got more butterflies this year than we did last year.
Oh, good.
I was just telling the one, what's her name, Jen?
Lynn.
Lynn?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was just telling her one day, speaking of butterflies,
Oh, yeah. Right on cue.
I was sitting in my chair one day, and all of a sudden, this butterfly came flying along. I'm sitting here, and he like lands right here.
Right.
So I just freeze for like 5 minutes. I'm just sitting here, you know, feeling so happy. I got a butterfly.
All right. Our
and then
first
this
one.
was,
Yeah.
this was a nice one. It wasn't like the little white one there.
Right.
Nice brownish orange color with a few specks here and
Right.
there. Like I say, I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I sat there for about 5 minutes, and I was almost paralyzed. Yeah.
That means you're a butterfly charmer. It's a good skill to have. So we're gonna walk back down this sort of alleyway, and it seems like there's a lot of activity going on at the base of the triangle.
At the base. Well, this is my work area. This is where I keep my tools. Okay. Yeah. My fork, my shovel, I got my saws, got a bag of grass seed.
Mm-hmm. Where did you get your tools from?
Mostly from Crest Hardware.
Oh yeah, we love Crest.
Those guys are amazing.
Yes.
The people at Crest are some of the most knowledgeable gardeners around. At the same time, Chelsea Gardens,
Mm-hmm.
right over here. A little bit more expensive, but their staff is knowledgeable.
Yep. That always helps.
And they give donations.
Right.
Crest
That
has-
even helps more.
Crest hasn't given me any donations. They both give me a discount, but like I
Right.
say, Crest hasn't given me donations. But these guys, I've got like maybe 10 different plants in this yard that
Very
they gave
cool.
me.
Are you composting here?
This is my compost. There was a woman that used to have this. Her name was Carmen.
Uh-huh.
And she planted, but then wasn't in here for years. And daylilies took
Mm-hmm.
over.
Yeah.
Literally, this whole yard was almost nothing but daylilies. I came in, at first I piled them all back up here until I could get a compost going. This area here and this are the literally the daylilies
Oh,
from last
interesting.
year.
So how long were they in there before it started to look like that? Which
The-
looks pretty
about a
nutrient
year.
rich. Okay. Yeah.
A little bit less than.
Uh-huh.
This, they went in here, they were green,
Mm-hmm.
some a little yellow. I used this.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. I use this to aerate what's going on, keep the soil turned over and what have you.
How often do you do that?
Once a month.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, once everything in here, let's see, once it starts turning into soil,
Right.
I move it from here into here and continue to aerate until it starts looking actually like soil.
Yeah.
Then I move it into the next one. And you can see, this is the result.
No,
A
it's
year
beautiful.
ago, this handful of soil right here, what's this?
So
Literally
really
this.
all you need is to compost your own natural plant materials would be one of these guys.
You can do the same thing with a pitchfork or even your
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in here but soil.
Right. Right.
Okay, nothing but plants. That's all that's in here. So let's see, if nothing else, you can, and it's always fun. Yeah, you just reach down and
Maybe you think it's fun. Maybe not everyone in our audience would think that it's fun, but actually, knowing our audience, I
Well,
think
see-
they would. But
I don't have dirt under my fingernails. That's soil and earth.
yeah, hey man,
Okay.
I agree.
I don't have dirty hands. I got earthy hands.
So these are the barrels you were talking about before. So this is how you're
Right,
actually
these are-
watering the park.
These are all full of water.
Mm-hmm.
These two barrels both have spigots on them, so I can just like fill them up there.
Right.
These barrels, I just dump my watering bucket in and
Sure.
until they're down to about where I can pick them up and dump them into the main barrel.
Nice.
Um,
So Jerry, I also heard something about the future of this particular space, which you have these gorgeous trees. Do you know what kind of trees these are?
these are linden trees.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah.
You come in early June when they're in full bloom.
Uh-huh.
And there's a bunch of them here. I mean, we got 5 right here. These are linden trees on that side. Those are linden trees all back over here. When they're in full bloom, this whole area is just filled with the most incredible fragrance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really heady.
Yeah. Spring is a unique time for
Oh,
the
yes,
city.
indeed.
Yeah. But then underneath these trees, you
Well,
have a
this-
kind of shaded area. And what are your plans for this area?
Well, we're gonna put a stage in right here.
A
Nothing
stage?
Big. Yeah, nothing big, just something small. You
What
know,
it-
we can't hold concerts. Yeah, I used to organize concerts.
Oh yeah.
Punk shows, as a matter
Oh,
of
very
fact.
cool. You can
Yeah.
do your punk shows here.
No. I found out a long time ago, punks and gardens don't mix. Okay.
So what
And
might you do on the
when
stage?
I start hanging out
Yeah.
with punks, then everybody else all get upset. They
So
really
you know
do.
what you have to do? You have to get them to take care of the gardens. So
Well,
so you do your shows, and then afterwards they do an hour of
well,
volunteer work.
we've got a little. Yeah, we can do a little setup here. We can do poetry readings. We can do little
Yeah.
skits.
That'll be beautiful.
I would like to get get some distinguished experts to come in and talk about native pollinators and how we need to start growing more native. We need to stop planting things from China, from Europe, and start planting stuff that was in this area. When you take cornflowers, those cornflowers have lived up and down the eastern seaboard for millennia. The monarch butterflies that come traveling down,
Yeah.
they feed on those plants because those are the plants that they evolved with for thousands and thousands of years. The coneflowers, the goldenrod, the milkweed.
Yep.
Okay, all of that stuff are stuff that the monarchs feed on, and we're no longer putting those in our yards and our gardens and what have you. And then we're noticing, like, my God, 3/4 of our monarchs are missing. Duh. We're planting trees from China. Okay, we're planting trees from England.
Yeah.
Okay, our butterflies and our bees and our birds, they don't know what these flowers are.
Yeah.
They're probably just as nutritious for them as the goldenrod or the coneflower, but the bees and the butterflies, they don't know that.
Yeah. You know, that's definitely a theme throughout when we're doing these field trips, just, all the natives and ensuring that any new plants that go in and public open spaces really focus on, cultivating a native habitat to bring in the birds, to bring in the bees, to bring in the monarchs.
So like I say, that's what I want to do. I have a strong belief that we can change climate change, and we can do it 1 yard at a time. Okay, I really believe that. We can start right here in the heart, okay, of like the most concrete of concrete jungles, and we can spread out from there.
Right off of Bedford Avenue.
Right off of Bedford and Metropolitan. Okay.
Unlikely space for a native habitat.
Well,
But there you go.
We can do that.
You created one.
We can do that. Like I say, we can, to use my line, we can change climate change, and we can do it 1 yard at a time. And we're going to launch it off from the People's Stage in the People's Triangle Community Garden, sponsored by the People's Firehouse.
Amazing, amazing. So
We used to term the People's a lot back in the 70s.
and so this is a little log here. Tell me about this log.
This guy right here, this used to be the cherry tree that was right over here in this little tree box where I have the red begonias. Can't see it through the garbage bags. And it was actually a grafted tree.
What does
One-
that mean?
One side had pink flowers and the other side had white flowers
Nifty.
at the same time. It was,
So why was it cut down?
well, it leaned.
Uh,
This is a loading area for the supermarket across the street, and I suspect that when it was young, a truck backed up against it and pushed it too far, and it leaned, and it really wasn't in danger of falling. But for some people, it did kind of look
sure.
like it.
Yeah.
You see, the problem is people that are happy with things, they don't call up and go, "Hi, I'm happy with things."
Don't we know that?
But people who are pissed, they call up and go, "I'm pissed." Okay. And those are the ones they have to listen to.
Yeah.
And after like 4 or 5 or 6 complaints, they had to act.
Sure.
So
this is our
Dan-
memento.
Danny
From-
Rivera came in one day, just as the city was cutting down the cherry tree. So Danny had him bring the log in, save the log for us. So we still have this, and as I say, this tree right here, when we build the stage,
Right there.
it's going to be front row center.
Amazing.
Have two more branches back over here. See the second log in there?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, where the two stones together are.
Yep.
Okay, that is from this tree right over here that came down last year.
Yep.
The first log here, the stump in the middle and the log at the end all came from the triangle across the street from the firehouse on Metropolitan Avenue. So we've got the logs from 3 different trees
Yeah, I mean,
from this neighborhood.
I imagine you know a lot of trees fell after the storm last week, and so these are really good ideas of reuse. I know. I mean,
Well,
you could make wood chips, or or
I
a
like
front
to use
row to a
Yeah.
poetry reading.
or as borders for flower beds.
Yeah.
I never did like taking a 1x6 and putting it on top of the ground and making a square and then filling that with soil and calling it a flower bed. That just don't work.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, there's 3 things that I try to avoid in gardening. They have their place in architecture and even a little place in art. But straight up, flat surfaces, straight lines, and square corners just look ugly in a garden.
I
Okay.
could not agree more.
Okay, yes, I end up with lines, but look at my lines. Okay.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, my
I love it.
cobblestones curved just a little bit. I got branches sticking up. I got branches sticking out, different sizes. Okay, let's see. It adds to the texture and personality of the garden. Yeah, you walk into a square garden and you're dealing with a bunch of squares. I'm sorry.
So Jerry, is this open every day to the public, or?
For the most part.
Yeah, and are you here every day?
I generally get here between 10 and 11, and I stay, sometimes 5, 6. Yeah, I haven't missed Jeopardy because of this.
And that's the marker.
Yep.
I have to be home by Jeopardy.
Yep.
But if you guys want to see Jerry, if you want to explore this new space, so you can come any 7 days of the week?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
I have one other garden, private garden that I take care of. But other than that, I'm here
Yeah.
all day, almost every day.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to
welcome
us.
people to come by,
And volunteers, right? You had mentioned
Oh,
earlier
yes,
you need
we-
volunteers to help
we always
maybe
need
weed or
volunteers,
water.
sweep the sidewalk, help do a little bit of weeding, help me
Street
pick up
trees
some-
always need some care.
um,
A little extra TLC.
We've got, I don't know the name of the school. There's a daycare center around the corner on 5th Street.
Right.
But, they bring their kids by.
Oh, fun.
Okay, I got 2 classes of
Oh,
them.
good. That's
As a matter
amazing.
of fact, when they graduated, see the plant hanging on the fence
Yeah.
and the one right there on the planter?
Yep.
When the first class of 4-year-olds, when they graduated, they gave me those.
Oh, that's amazing.
Don't tell anybody. It actually brought tears. Standing here, all the little kids there, the 2 teachers there, they gave me those, and I felt tears.
Aw.
Well, and I had to turn around.
Aw. Well,
I spend years like fighting cops, running wild in the streets, organizing punk rock shows, and little kids just wipe that image right out. Every time.
every time,
Yep.
those 4-year-olds. So that just makes me so happy that you're partnering with the local school and that they're able to have this environmental opportunity around the corner, which is so important for city kids to get their hands not dirty but earthy. So
Well, one day I was watching this little boy. He walked along this log right here. He gets right to the end, and then he jumps to the end of the one you're sitting on.
Yeah.
And then turns around looking so proud. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, How often do city kids get to jump from log to log?
Honestly, not long. You were talking about 1 yard at a time. Our public parks are the front yards and backyards for New Yorkers.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have green space to their own, especially in a neighborhood like this where green space is at a minimum. So it's amazing what you're doing, not only for that generation, but for all Williamsburg residents and Greenpoint and really anyone. So.
Well, it's literally hands across the water from Lois Cider to Williamsburg.
Yeah.
Okay, hands across the river.
Well, thank you, Jerry,
thank you guys for coming.
I'm really appreciative of your work and the People's Firehouse and Danny Rivera and Reynoso, Councilmember Reynoso.
Let me say, Danny Rivera is the unsung hero in
yes,
all of
no,
this.
I know.
Okay, had it not, Danny did all the background work that caused some meetings. Okay,
Yeah.
where this started evolving, when the lockdown happened, Danny was the one that made sure we had water.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, Danny worked his ass out. Without Danny, it didn't matter what I did in here.
Yeah. Like
Without
a lot
Danny,
of projects,
this just would not
it was
have
like,
happened.
oh, as soon as the pandemic hit, oh, well, I guess that's not going to happen. But you know what? It did. And it did
Yes, it-
because of his hard work, because of your hard work. So I really appreciate.
And then now we need to bring the people back in and let them
After
know.
all, it's the People's Triangle.
Yep, and let them know we're here to change climate change.
Amazing. Amazing. So thank you, Jerry, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. We will see you next Wednesday at
Peace,
Bushwick
y'all.
Inlet Park. So join us and have a good rest of your week. Thank you. Tuning in from Ask a Gardener on NBK Parks.